Welcome back, everybody, to Business Monday. We are here at the Navigant Credit Union Broadcast Center. I'm Josh Fenton. She is Meghan Decker. She is the president up at G Media Studios. What's going on, Meghan Decker?
Busy, busy, busy. Yeah.
Overwhelmingly busy?
Yes.
That's good. That's the economy,
Yep.
right? Talk a little bit about some of the initiatives. I think last time you were on about 3 or 4 weeks ago, we talked a little bit about some of the things that are going on in one of your firm's specialties, blockchain and cryptocurrencies. How's that segment of the world performing?
It is going very well. I will say we are working with a lot of blockchain and technology firms, but we are not the experts in the blockchain space. And that's been a lot of the conversations that we've been having as we're kind of building our portfolio in this area. It's an area we want to grow with our clients in, but we absolutely look at it as a collaboration. And we say that really right off the bat as, we are the brand strategists and expertise in that space. And, we work with the experts in the blockchain space.
One of the things when you're an agency and you're working with multiple companies in the same business sector is one of the reasons why they're hiring you is you have expertise in branding or public relations.
Exactly.
You have to be careful not to get captured by the norm because you need to bring in real expertise and discipline to be able to help them because they've all been doing it the same way. They're all startups, especially in the blockchain world. There really weren't any companies in this sphere 5 years ago, really? I mean, for the most
I'd say
part,
like the past 5 to 7 years.
Yeah, 5, 7 years. So everything's at the very, very beginning. It is the wild, wild west. Everybody's trying to figure out how to get to Oklahoma and get a piece of the land, right?
Yeah.
Stick their flag in.
It is very
situation.
It is very much the territory and the landscape, for sure. When we talk to a range of different clients and prospects in this space, everything from a lot of national firms to global, and a lot of these folks that are building these organizations they're traveling constantly, but if you're going to build it, you have to build it right. So one of the things that we've been doing is really ensuring that before we even start talking about marketing initiatives and what objectives and goals are is, okay, what's the structure of your house, and making sure that they have the right people in place. It really is still a place where everyone's throwing a blockchain event and or a conference of some sort, and looking for, it's a great place to pull sponsors from.
Yeah, right.
And I think that's the biggest thing that I've advised is don't do a sponsorship. Like, this is not that a sponsorship is a bad thing to do, but in this space when you don't have anyone on the inside of your organization to execute on it, there's really no value there. I spoke at a conference 2-3 weeks ago in Brooklyn on technology and emerging brands, and that was one of the the one things I brought up. I can't tell you a single name of one of the companies on the back of my lanyard. So if I can't, then
right.
I'm not going to sell in that piece. But we definitely are kind of in a unique place growing up in this space because we're definitely being really a strategic advisor in the brand world, from everything from developing brand architecture to truly figuring out, okay, what is going to be the identity of your organization pre, during, and post.
Right now, it's funny. It's an old school company who's reinventing itself, but probably the best known to the consumer is IBM. They've really spent a lot of time and energy and money defining themselves as having an expertise both as a strategist, really as a strategist in blockchain technology. When will we start to see some of the more organic, emerging blockchain companies become, household names? I mean, it took .com one, it took Amazon and eBay and Google and a series of others. Is it 6 months away? Is it 5 years away? Is it?
The long-term stretch of it is it's gonna take a bit. I think everyone's talking about blockchain.
Right.
Even people that don't know what blockchain is.
And almost everyone will start off their discussion about blockchain by uttering the words, "I really don't understand blockchain."
Or I want an ICO. I think what will happen, and Jeff Pulver, who's with Alchemist, has been very much a mentor and somebody that I talk to often, along with the rest of their team.
And also the founder of Vonage.
Yes.
And a cutting edge technologist, not just in the blockchain world, but over the last 20 years.
In technology in general, yeah, he's an absolute genius. So I've had the opportunity to spend a lot of time with him, obviously with Stephen as well from Alchemist, but Jeff especially, to really talk about the landscape and what's going on in this space. And it will very much be something that just becomes a platform, just the same way you do your normal everyday purchases and engagements. So when you say, how will people be referring it into the household, I think it'll be just the same way you talk about any service, purchase, or sale that you would complete on a normal day. So it'll just be a little bit different, maybe in how you purchase your home or how you do your investing. Or
will blockchain become the brand, or will it be the brand behind the brand?
It'll be the platform. It won't be either.
But you go into a movie and they still talk about Dolby surround sound, right? The movie's brought to you by Dolby surround sound, or some of those things that are the technology behind. Your computer's powered, it's an Apple or another branded product, but it's Intel's inside. Mm-hmm. Are you going to start to see major companies being fueled by a blockchain component with the platform, and that platform, and then you'll look for that trust in that brand of blockchain?
Yeah. No, I would hope. That's what everyone's doing now. I would like to see a division of G Media be working on a blockchain platform as the future unfolds, without question. Jeff and I were putting together a Think Lab to talk about the impact of brands and setting up their marketing strategy for Q1 of next year, to really help people in the space know how they should be doing their marketing in the blockchain world and the technology space in Q1. So we're going to be working on a white paper together. But yeah, I think it'll very much be just it'll be a layer versus ever referring to blockchain as a brand or anything like that.
But you might have branded platforms.
Branded platforms, but blockchain itself will just be another layer within the system that we're working on.
Let's leave blockchain for a moment. We have a robust economy, but we also have in the world of marketing just tremendous transformation right now. We have, most of our best known forms of advertising are transforming. Obviously, in the past, we've talked about social media, its influence and its growth, and then also its limitations accordingly. Do you see any trends beginning to emerge? The numbers off newspaper groups is almost catastrophic on what their economic performance is and their loss of market share. There's some numbers that show certain key business segments are starting to leave television. Auto is having significant cutbacks there. Give us a forecast of what you're seeing in the next 24 months. How's a brand going to get its message out 24 months from now versus how it is now?
I love that you asked that question. The one thing that we've noticed as, we obviously are focusing more on brand strategy, and we're definitely become a global brand consultancy. And we used to do a lot more in experiential, where we still have that component at G Media, but it's a channel that's tied to the brand. And that's how we really, look at everything, whether it's social, PR, and such. What I'm seeing, especially as we're learning together in this technology space, is having the infrastructure to do your marketing right and having the right people in place, but more so, the most important piece, which has been around forever, but people don't, I guess it's also a little bit hard to digest sometimes, is customer journey mapping from a brand standpoint.
Which is all the interactions that an individual would have with a brand.
Well, it can be. I've done global customer journey mapping for clients such as Hilton Worldwide before their IPO, and it was analyzing every single audience, both internal audience, external stakeholders, pre-launch, as well as understanding and interviewing every type of person that engages with the brand, from a transient group to corporate, and figuring out, okay, what's going on, and doing that full analysis, but also being able to pull out the pieces that say, okay, here's the things that you can resolve right now. Easy things.
Right.
Like, for instance, I remember one of them was in China. They didn't have a brochure in China for the Hilton Garden Inn.
Right.
Like, I was like, you can do that. That's easy. That's a quick fix. But maybe your sales platform might take 5 years to build out. So that can also, in turn, become your platform of how you're engaging with your media. So that's a big thing that we're doing with a lot of our clients and starting to engage with, even outside of blockchain, just in the technology space, to really have the landscape there, because customer journeys have been around for a very long time, but the difficult part is on the agency side, we understand it because we're doing those interviews and we're understanding the data, but then it gets delivered to the client, and a lot of times, I think I was reading something today, it's 13% are able to take a customer journey map and actually execute on it. So if you can't execute on this great marketing plan, what's the point of it? And
Right.
It's the same thing with like delivering of programmatic data and customer data. If you have it all, that's wonderful, but if you're not using it to your advantage and slicing the data to support your efforts to get in front of the right audiences, then what's the point?
Well, and there's a lot of pushback about big data and all these companies collecting a lot of data, not knowing what to do with it, and also becoming slaves to it, which can create a false god, because
Yeah.
at the end of the day, there is an emotional connection between how consumers feel about their experience with a product or a service. And just data doesn't always show that. Average time on the website, or email opening, or those types of components to it doesn't necessarily peel back the onion to get to those really important elements of
Authenticity.
I like them, I trust them, I want to be a part of them, I want them a part of my life,
Yeah.
I want to buy them for my children,
Yeah.
whatever those other components might be. You still didn't answer my question about what's it going to look like in 24 months. Is there going to be a different relationship between consumers and brands, and do you see any trends? In certain segments, listen, you look out the window here on West Boston Street and you see bird scooters go zooming by. Well, kind of cool. Here comes one right now, right? Here comes somebody who probably commuted one way a few years ago and is now on an orange bike that they plug in their credit card off an app, and they're off
Yeah.
and running. Well, cool, fun. Not good if I own an auto dealership
Yeah.
in New England, watching person after person go zooming by, and also watching all these young people enjoying the experience of scootering and not having that love of, God, I can't wait to get my first car or get
And put gas in it that's
and
going to
put gas.
pollute the environment. I mean, yeah, it's different.
We're seeing
Obviously,
a transformation
we're seeing-
in transportation.
it means we're getting old. No, but I mean, we do have to address it. I mean, there's everything that goes right down to the millennials, and on the next every other generation. They don't want to engage with a brand that does like the whitewashing,
Yeah.
or even the greenwashing. Like, we're saying we're doing everything we can to make sure your product's safe.
Yeah.
Unless you're actually doing it, they're not going to work, and they're not
Right.
going to play for you, and they're not going to be your brand ambassador. So I think that's a big piece of it too, is finding the niche of how you can make people speak on your behalf and of your brand and be excited and engaged with it, and and they have to take a stance. I didn't answer your question, but I never answer your questions.
See any trends emerging? See anything unusual that you go, aha, that could be applicable to all our clients? Some of the things is, we just discussed, changing modes of transportation. Well, God, if 20% of the population now no longer is driving their car to work, maybe that outdoor billboard campaign along the highways not as strategic, not as strategic and have the same value accordingly.
Yeah.
Are you seeing anything else emerge that companies should look at and think about in building their workforce, building their consumer strategy, building their B2B strategy?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think I see a lot, and even right now, I see, a lot of folks that we talk to, there's, a lot of companies, and it's not a great thing, but it's very common. You have a digital strategy in place, or you don't have a digital strategy, Yeah, I'm sorry. So you don't have a digital strategy, but you're leveraging all of the channels, right? So you really need to do that first step.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you're just kind of throwing it against the wall and hoping it works out. So from the digital standpoint for PR and social, you really have to have a plan in place.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, you're not gonna break through, and you're not
Well,
gonna
and
make a thought leader.
good economies give you a false sense of security, right?
Yeah.
Because everybody's doing well and everybody's spending money and everybody's buying stuff. Then the economy slows down, and all of a sudden, you better be ready
Ready.
to go. And you better feel comfortable and confident that when you spend your marketing dollars, they're going to be effective because you've gone through that process. Is it kind of like, what is it, 12 steps? Is the first thing you have to do is realize you have a problem? I mean, is that really from a brand?
No, it's
strat-
absolutely.
Yeah.
That is actually a lot of the conversations that I'm having with our
And with smart
prospects and
companies, these
clients.
aren't.
No.
This isn't the one-off dry cleaner.
No,
you're
no, no.
talking
I'm,
to.
I'm talking to brilliant people that
Right.
are brilliant in their space, but it also reminds me what a great team I have behind me because we're experts in the brand space.
Right.
And yeah, it's making sure your house is set up because if you have marketing initiatives that you want to take on, and you have nobody in your house that can liaise with your agency, or thinks you can, or sometimes think you could just pull it off in your house without marketing expertise, you can lose a lot of money. But I think people are open to hearing.
Not only misspend, but then lose market share.
Yeah.
More importantly.
Yeah, and I think it goes right back to audiences too. You know, I talk to a lot of companies who say, okay, this is the audience I want to be talking to for B2C, and this is who I want to be talking to in B2B. And then I asked the question, I think just last week, I said to somebody, I said, what is an audience that you think you should potentially be in front of that you haven't thought about? And they're like, well, I haven't thought about them. I'm like, we should start talking about the audiences you're not thinking of, that you could potentially be actually potentially selling more from the B2C side and from the B2B. So, yeah, it's just kind of looking at everything.
Any indications? How are you feeling about the economy? Clients feeling about the economy?
I think right now we're going into November. I think everybody's, obviously in the midst of doing their Q1 planning. So, that's why Jeff Pulver and I are really kind of planning out this big lab.
Everybody rushes, especially bigger companies, to get their Q1 or their annual, their next year's plan done. And then they do literally nothing till March. It is just about...
I even look at it as, okay, we're getting ready for Q1 as your agency. We should be talking in November, December, solidifying the plan so we can kick off right in Q1.
Yeah.
And that's why March ends up
Right.
being the kickoff date, because you're like, okay, I got my budget locked, and now I'm ready to go. I think we have to move everything up a quarter for planning on the client side. But
And make pushing things off a little bit illegal. Because that just seems to be that natural beginning of the year. We'll push it back,
Yeah.
save the money in January and February. Nobody spends in January and February. But I like the Sam Walton. One year there was a terrible recession. He doubled down his marketing spend. He said, why are you spending so much more than your competitors? He said, I decided not to participate in the recession. So
I love it.
I want to thank you so much,
Thank
Meghan
you.
Decker from G Media Studios, talking everything from brand strategy to what's going on in blockchain. Appreciate everybody tuning in for the 4 o'clock hour on Business Money. Thank our friends over at Deepwater Wind. We'll be back tomorrow. I think mayoral candidate Dee Dee Whitman is in at 3 o'clock, and then Kate Nagel's got the 4 o'clock hour. But don't hold me to it because it seems to change every day. But welcome back, everybody, to Monday. Congratulations to the Boston Red Sox. We'll see you back on live